For the last 20 years, I've been obsessed with frames for offense and defense in self-defense and combat sports systems. They are found all over in traditional arts. Cross-training and research into combatives and combat sports systems reveal its functionality and robust usage. This video serves as my reaction to Karate Breakdown's Part 1 video on frames, where Michael discusses 3 important aspects of frame usage. Thanks, Mike, for the collaboration. I hope you enjoy this video. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Happy 2025. Happy New Year. Hope this year gives you the strength to push through whatever you're dealing with and see it from start to finish. So before we jump in, I want to give you some context between Michael Nguyen and I. So back in 2018, I went to Texas for the first time and I met Mike Nguyen, founder of Karate Culture and Karate Breakdown. Great guy. He really took care of me. Got a chance to eat some great food. The barbecue in Texas is amazing. Met his entire team over there at his very first dojo. Michael runs 2 successful YouTube channels, Karate Culture and Karate Breakdown. Mike and Aaron are 2 talented individuals who've cross-trained in various combat sports, arts, and tactical combatives. I had to visit them as their mission resonates really strong with me. After meeting them, Michael basically convinced me to open up my channel, and I had to start. So there we have it. Those are the grassroots of Karate Unity, really. So I gotta say thank you, Mike, for this collaboration. Let's jump in. So let's recap. In the very first video, Michael talks about frames as wedges. Let's see what he has to say.
And there's a few ways you could think about frames too. You could think about them as wedges. We talk about wedges a lot in Jiu-Jitsu, especially when you're on the ground. If you think about grappling, especially ground fighting, you don't have the luxury of movement on all your planes. If you're on your back, you're essentially pinned against the ground because your opponent has their weight, they have gravity working with them. You're fighting at a deficit. The same thing happens if you're pinned against the wall. It's the same thing. It's like ground fighting but rotated 90 degrees on the wall.
So there you have it, guys. Mike's idea of frames as a wedge makes a lot of sense, in particular when you're using an anatomical structure like your arms or legs to create space to mobilize and immobilize yourself. Mobilize yourself away from harm and immobilize an opponent potentially. I'm beginning to understand a lot of this much better now that I'm cross-training in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. The next clip you're going to see is an example from Coach Kelvin Chung. He's my Japanese Jiu-Jitsu coach. He's going to be demonstrating how to keep someone off the wall when they're rushing you. You're going to insert a frame. Now, the frame in particular, the connection that I'm making is the shuto uke. So the shuto uke, the bent arm structure, just like this. Okay, he's utilizing it, except on a downward plane. It's the same bent arm structure that's used to, keep someone off. Great example. Let's check it out.
If he controlled my hand like I did earlier and he goes below me, I need to create space. I like to force this in, but create a frame, basically create the frame.
Yeah.
To create him, back him off the wall.
I see.
And then it breaks the grip.
Yeah.
The knee grip break, like we do in grappling days.
Yeah,
days,
yeah.
I like to use it on the wall too. I think that's a pretty common one.
Yeah.
So
some syllabus.
Yeah, so he's pushing his hand here.
Yeah.
I need to turn and do this. Be careful. As I turn, see my legs exposed.
Yeah.
So he'll take me down.
Yeah.
Exactly. That way or front way.
Yeah.
So just be careful with that. But you can't, it's hard to fight like this.
Yeah.
Just like on your back, you have to fight on your back.
Yeah.
So same thing, I want to turn. Just be careful, that could happen.
Okay, so but you'll be sensitive to that?
This is the fight. Get the frames, use the knee to break that grip.
Yeah.
Now that I can swim and get the underhook.
Underhook? Okay, try for the
and
underhook.
And then if you want to strike, I need to make space. If you want to grapple, I take down from here.
Yeah.
But either way, the underhook is good because I put pressure up and I change his posture.
Okay.
How does this takedown work? Is I
break balance. Okay.
Balance.
Okay.
I grip into his lower back and put pressure up top. Fold him up.
Now the second way Michael looks at frames is as offensive crashes. Let's take a recap here.
Frames can also be used offensively. We talk about crashes a lot. I always think about the front of a train, the cow catcher, or the front end of an arrow, like an arrowhead. it's made to pierce through.
You guys, Mike's idea of frames as crash covers really resonates strong with me. So let me just tell you, about 20 to 25 years ago, I had a pivot in my martial art training. A JKD instructor introduced me to the works of Rodney King, who's a South African martial artist, holistic trainer and student. He has this thing called the Crazy Monkey Defense System, an amazing articulated shell cover that allows you to weather the storm for combat sport and self-defense. I also came across the ISR Matrix work of using their helmet for crashing into getting control and clinch, and it's a great add-on to your arsenal. I went and studied with the Defense Lab guys in Germany, and their work there of the articulated head cover was great, which led me to look at works of, say, Master Wong and Urban Combatives along with Alan's material. Really great stuff that's a hybrid of Filipino martial arts, JKD, and all kinds of combat sports. You owe it to yourself to get out there and look at these things. They are specialists in the game, especially in these little tools that pay dividends as add-ons to your game. So this has become a very strong part of my training over the last, say, 20 years, and I take it with me everywhere. It's constantly evolving. It's part of my teaching game, and it's a big part of my seminar curriculum as well. Just loving the evolution and how it works. So anyway, next up, I'm going to show you an example of how I utilize these crash covers and how they're related to karate and kihon. So the drill is a three-part drill. First part involves using your eyes, where you're against the wall and someone's throwing shots at you and you're defending, and you're basically training your eyes to open up, look for tells, and defend. That's it. It's working that aspect of your arsenal. The next part is you crash in, and you got to time that and work tactile sensitivity and work for grips. So you crash in for grips. The next part of that drill is to turn the opponent. So you're working on kazushi, breaking balance, learning how to tip, work for that pivot point, tip the guy, and put him back into the wall. And that's the drill. So check it out. Hope you enjoy it. For us karate guys here, okay, we've got structures. We've got names for these structures. They're involved in this set called kata, okay? And all that is just a series of principles, really. You can't use them for fighting unless you take it outside of the kata and play like this. So this particular cross structure here shares the same principle as one of these katas that we're going to learn about in our next section called either teki or nahanchi. And all it is it's a series of movements on the lateral plane, but that's just the way to memorize. And then later on, you use these movements. So one of the famous movements is you know, an open hand movement here. But I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about this one is this smash here. And you see this in many martial arts, okay? And then there's this. So it's taught this way, but watch, once I change the plane, I get this. It's the same thing, okay? So it's really here versus here. So this one cross structure is here. These cross structures here are from our forms. So we have forms like this, cross structures here. We've got all these structures here in our blocking. That's where this comes into play, where our hands are crossed. So to make it functional, okay, one way to do it is just to keep everything tight. So it's really this. We've got all these motions in our kata. So this is another cross structure, okay? So we're gonna use them now. And I'm gonna do it in steps. I'm gonna say a word. So I'm gonna say defense. Boom, 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 boom. Crash. Bam. I'm gonna say crash. Then you just crash in. And you freeze frame here. Now, what you wanna do is you have to figure out where to get my overhook. So I have to use my skill. So I have to pull. I'm gonna do an overhook here. Get in. Put this right in here. Okay? Now, depending on who you get, there might be a height discrepancy. Okay? So imagine I'm a little shorter. I can't get to that chin. That's okay. So I'm gonna do that overhook. I'm gonna end up here now. So what I wanna do is I'm gonna use my ear and my head, and I'm gonna do this. I can even do this too. Get a grip here, and I'm curving here to break that balance. Okay? Now, I do that. I take down the couch on deep. But for the drill, I want you to learn how to circle and control, turn, and put them back into the wall. Gently, okay? And we continue, okay? So the cues I'm gonna give you is defense, crash, grips, get the grips, turn, okay? I'll give you those 4 cues. Find a partner. Finally, Mike talks about frames as a brace tool. Let's check it out.
A frame can be used for bracing, right? If someone has forward momentum on you, if you don't sprawl or if you don't strike them to make them get onto their back foot, then you need some type of frame to keep them away.
So Mike's idea of bracing and keeping somebody away using your anatomical structures makes a lot of sense to me. Through all the different kinds of cross training that I've done, I've discovered its use. Okay, so for example, crashing in using a P9 kata structure, for example, the double shuta uke, you know, like this. If you turn it sideways, you know, you lift your shoulders up and you just kind of ballistically smash into somebody's attack. It's kind of like a dive. You're diving into their center line so you can establish some sort of a grapple, disbalance the person, and just go to work from there. That's an application that I taught in Germany, so let's check it out. You all right? Okay, so step off. Okay. We need to modify it. We need to. What's stopping us from tilting it? Okay. I'm gonna tilt it. So I'm gonna tilt it here. I'm gonna put my chin up, and I'm gonna look through my eyebrows. And this is against an aggressive surprise attack. It's like the old man, they're in your face. They push you, aggressive punch coming at you, right? One way that I like to remember is the Superman dive. The key in doing this though, from my experience, is your chin's down, shoulders up, so your traps are engaged, okay, so you can deal with the shock, and then you do Supermaning inside like this, okay, against a haymaker. So he goes to trap, from here I'm gonna wrap, believe, so from here, just turn. Now from there, it goes right into my, into this. So here, into here, I'm down, boom. Hey guys, thanks for watching this far. The collaboration video is pretty much done. Mike talked about 3 usages of frames. Frames as a wedge, frames as an offensive crash, and frames as a brace. So if you're caught in a bind in a compromising position, you'll need to use it as a wedge to mobilize yourself into a position of safety. Crash into your opponent as an offensive crash and destroy limbs and things. Maybe if you're in a clinch situation, you'll need to brace to get out or keep an opponent away. They're amazing tools. They have these 3 multifaceted components, and I totally agree with Mike. But really, when you think about it, I think about it as a mobilization and immobilization tool. So it allows you to mobilize yourself to a position of safety temporarily and immobilize your opponent through destructive force, crashing in and ramming in with elbow structures and things. They are fantastic tools, and you owe it to yourself to study and cross-train, get in tune with this, and throw it in your arsenal. One thing that stood out for me that Mike talked about was frames is a mastery of his own range. Check out what Mike has to say about it.
It's a mindset that you need frames in addition to your attacks, in addition to your counters. I would even call it like a mastery of its own range, right? Because you could think you could fight in the clinch with strikes, you could fight from a distance, you could fight on the ground, you get your throws in, but a structure or frame can happen at all of those ranges, right?
And I really like that, because when you think about it, once you've learned how to utilize frames, you need to be versatile with it in terms of learning how to traverse all the ranges of combat. So you need to know how to use it on the outer range, which basically manifests itself in terms of destructions, okay, and blocks type of thing. On the middle range, which you need to know how to use it as traps and crashes, and on the clinch range, and you need to know how to use it as destructions, getting in, and basically using it as wedges to create space to get out. So there's an expansion and contraction going on of energy with respect to your opponent. And there's one man that talked about this really well. His name is Bruce Lee. Let's check out and see what he has to say.
A good martial artist does not become tense, but ready. When the opponent expands, I contract. When it contracts, I expand.
So when Bruce Lee talked about expansion and contraction, my mind just like this, because it's a universal truth. The whole idea of push-pull. And if you train on any type of live combat sport, or train in a traditional art where you put in a lot of aliveness in your training, you'll understand the whole concept of push-pull. I use this concept throughout this video in showing how to use frames. Take a look at some footage over here where I'm utilizing the Nahanchi elbow, and I'm talking about modifications to this. So a lot of the times we get stuck in static forms, and we need to break free from the form by utilizing these structures and articulating them and moving them in space, making some adjustments to it. So for example, a crosshand structure for a low block, you just basically contract it and put it right up to your center mass, and it ends up being a crash cover. Think about it. You have your hands like this, you open it up, and all you do is you just bring it all the way up into your head, like that. So everything becomes contracted. So here's the expansion, and here's the contraction, okay? And it's the same crosshand structure. And when you make modifications like this to your Kihon, you begin to insert functionality in there. You see what I'm saying? So this is the formula for making Kihon functional, is you take it, modify it, and change it according to range. That's how it's done, guys. Anyway, that's about it. Listen, I want to say thanks, Mike, for the collaboration. It was great working with you. Please like, share, subscribe, all that social media stuff. I'd really appreciate that. And you know, once again, if you don't like this content, I can guarantee you one thing: the internet is a massive place, and with some patience, you'll find what you're looking for. Truly, even if it's not mine, it's all good. So one love, all the best, Happy New Year, and stay tuned for the next one. Peace.